have the kids up here and have like a tug of war, okay?
No, wait a minute. No, that's not what I'm doing.
No, I might do this later. I can add this. I just want to tell you if I add. I'd like to have things that I can add. If I did, just see if I do that, and this is what conflict looks like, right?
I would do that with adults. These kids are little.
Okay, well,
They may not cooperate.
Okay. But here, listen to this. I think this is actually very powerful. This is what conflict looks like, right? And then what we often want is we want Jesus. Now we're going to bring Jesus into the picture. And what we often want is Jesus to be on our side and help us win the. Hi there. How are you? It's so good to see you.
Really nice.
That was. I loved your
I
sermon.
thought that was pretty bold of
That
you.
was really.
Thank you.
That was
Subversive. I like that a
We'll
lot.
see. Some people might not be happy about it, but
But you didn't say anything.
I said history.
What?
I told history.
That's what
You
I
did.
loved about it.
You did.
That's what was genius about it.
That was what you heard.
In the Book of Common Prayer, it says it's a real thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So yeah,
Yeah. No, I
You
thought
were
it was genius the
subversive.
way you did it.
Thank you.
I love that.
With a smile.
Yes.
Yeah, that too.
Has anybody said anything to you?
No, one person at the early service was afraid I was going to go in a direction that made him uncomfortable. But we talked afterward.
You can be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Maybe that's okay. Being uncomfortable is not so bad.
And I said, I hear you. It's I was uncertain if it was going to,
But just
But
because
they
it makes
trust me.
somebody
But they trust
uncomfortable,
me.
yeah,
Right.
doesn't mean it's not
Uncomfortable.
good,
That's
not
right.
bad. Growth is
That's right.
uncomfortable.
Exactly. And I have enough emotional capital here
Yes, that you can
where they'll trust me.
just to say things that are a little. It wasn't overt. You weren't overt. You were very subtle. I loved it.
All right. Is this right? Do y'all need more light? Are you okay? Are you in the dark?
It's kind of dark.
Al senses love. He responded right away. And so Al senses love.
Yeah, good to see you.
How do we turn the light on just a tiny bit? It's just a little dark here.
Yeah, it's quite dark.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you think we'll be getting any more kids? Probably not.
Well, there are a few back there. There's some right back
No
there.
teenagers.
No
Probably.
teenagers.
Or
There
grade
weren't
school.
many.
even.
There's some grade school at that table.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Got it.
We're gonna sing before you invite them.
Oh, here comes another one. Yes,
Sing
you are.
kind of warm.
Yeah. Here comes some, because I intend to bring the kids up here when I talk to
Great.
them, interview them,
Great.
You gonna sit on the stairs?
have them sit on the stairs. Yeah.
What happened to the lights? They're playing with them. Okay. Would y'all like for me to introduce you? It looks like you have a microphone already.
Oh, here's one.
Oh, great.
It's on already.
It's on already.
Theoretically, they said it was.
Maybe not.
They said it's on.
She has a board.
That's Sky. Good morning.
Oh, boy.
Welcome to St. Stephen's. I'm glad you're here this morning for our intergenerational offering. I'm really glad to see you. And I'm very excited to introduce to you Scott and Holly Stoner, who you may have already gotten to spend some time with yesterday. They did a day-long retreat, and they are here to talk with us today about the ways that God will work in and through us to make us instruments of God's peace. So I am grateful that you traveled all the way here. Thank you for bringing the nice weather along to make it feel a little more like late November. And so without further ado, I'm going to pass it off to the two of you because we are in good hands this morning.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Scott, do you want this?
No, I think my mic's on. So, good morning, everyone. We are delighted to be here. We bring you greetings from Madison, Wisconsin, our hometown. I know you're all really bummed that the Badgers lost yesterday. Oh, wait, there was another football team. No, okay, I won't go. No, I won't. I'm sorry, I won't bring that up. But it is so good to be here. I am a dear friend of Mary B. Sullivan and count her as one of my dear friends and colleagues. And of course, we're praying for Mary B. with the passing of her father, and just 7 months after her mother passed away. But I've known Malcolm and Mary B. for many years, and it was through a connection with Mary B. that this invitation came to pass. And we're just delighted to be here. So, one thing, we love intergenerational gatherings. And do you realize that in our culture today, church is one of the last places, one of the only places where all the generations gather? Think about that. Outside of our families, usually when we're gathering with other people, this isn't right or wrong, but usually we're gathering with people in a similar age group, right? That's typically how we cluster, and when we socialize and do things, it's typically because we have things in common, right? At different stages of the life cycle. But church is one of the last places in our culture where all the generations are present. We love being in your 9 o'clock service and just seeing, the newborn baby, or maybe 6 months old, maybe 9 months old. All the ages are there. And that is such a gift. And so we're delighted that this is an intergenerational gathering today. Just a little bit about my background and then turn it over to Holly. Also, speaking of the gatherings at church, Holly and I have a very interesting church-related fact. I moved to Milwaukee, Wisconsin when I was in 6th grade. And back then, confirmation was in 6th grade. And I walked in, so my parents signed me up, I walked into confirmation class, and who was maybe the second person I met in confirmation class? My wife, Holly Hughes. I know, we met in 6th grade confirmation class. So if there's any 6th graders here, in the room, look around. I mean, stranger things have happened. So, these things happen. So we met in 6th grade, didn't start dating until we were in college. But it was easy to ask her out because I already knew her from church, so that was easy. And so my background is I'm an Episcopal priest as well as a marriage and family therapist. I've served in a variety of ministry contexts, in chaplaincy and interim ministry, as a pastoral counselor, as a rector, and now I oversee a ministry called Living Compass. We're the ones that produce these Advent books that you'll see around here. We produce a variety of resources around the integration of faith and wellness and really how we make our faith our living compass in every aspect of our lives. So as we started this in 2008, 2009, we'd had gatherings like this. We would have a lot of people come to us and say, I work in a school, I work in a secular institution. I would like to bring this kind of holistic wellness, especially one that focuses on spirituality, but I can't bring it with, just explicitly, religious language. We could do spirituality, but not the explicitly Christian language. And so because we got so many requests, Holly, who I'll turn it over to now, came to join. And so now we have 2 initiatives, and they're up there on the board, Living Compass and Wellness Compass. But Holly oversees Wellness Compass, and I'll let her say more about her background.
Yeah, so I'm Holly. I have spent my life, rather than in a church, primarily in schools. I started out teaching kindergarten. Does this work? Does it hurt? Oh, now it's back on. Teaching kindergarten and 2nd grade. I got my master's in special ed, so then I moved and was always working with kids who didn't like school for one reason or another or didn't fit in. Then I went up to the high school level, and that was actually my favorite, working with teenagers. But kids, it didn't matter. Parents and children were always talking to me about things going on in their homes that were impacting how their child or themselves were doing at school. And that just kept ruminating in the back of my mind. So I went back to school at 50 to be a family therapist. And so that is what I do. I connect with a lot of schools because schools are the places where people notice that something's not quite, somebody's unhappy or there's something going on. So I still am, and I love schools, and I love children and families. So that's what I do. And so my branch, so to speak, of Living Compass is Wellness Compass. And I work with mental health professionals, drug and alcohol addiction places, schools, hospitals, places out in the world. But they are also, and it's so fascinating. A place like this, some of you might say, oh, well, I work in such one of those places. I work in a prison, or I work here or here. Oh, could I take this to my place? And then when I go to prisons or places like that, they'll say, oh, that my church might be interested in this. So then I refer them to Living Compass. So there's this synergy back and forth between the two of them. But today we're here to talk about peace, and I was wondering if all the kids would mind coming up on the stairs. So that's anybody who is not an adult, basically. If there's any of you who are like in middle school, high school, anybody who has a different kind of wisdom than the adults. Because, we spend much of our time, children spend much of their time listening to the adults, listening to all the grown-ups telling them what to do and what to think and say. Good. Oh, there's some older ones too. Good. Great, great. Come sit down. Get comfortable. Thank you all for cooperating and being willing to do this. I know it's not easy to come up in front of all these people. Oh, yes. They are going to sing with you, but that's not why they're really up here. Thank you all for being brave enough to come up here. I'm going to ask you some questions after we sing a song. Is that all right? Okay. I think children have such wisdom. I loved being a classroom teacher because I would hear this amazing stuff all day long. And I was the only adult there to witness it. So I want to bring them up here so we can learn from them. But go ahead, Scott. You're going to start.
The kids, you probably know the songs, but the lyrics are up on the screen for those who don't. I know it's not polite to put your feet up on furniture, but I don't have a strap, so we're going to put it up here. So let's get in the mood here to talk about peace and open our hearts and souls by singing this song that is, I think, one we all know. I got peace like a river. I got
Peace like a river. You guys want to sing?
like a river where my soul.
You know this song at all? There's the words up there. Like a river, they've got peace like a river.
I got peace like a river in my soul. I got love like an ocean. I got love like an ocean. I got love like an ocean in my soul. In my soul. I got love like an ocean. I got love like an ocean. I got love like an ocean in my soul. I got joy like a fountain. I got joy like a fountain. I got joy like a fountain in my soul. I got joy like a fountain. I got joy like a fountain. I got joy like a fountain in my soul. Sing peace again, and this time you got to sing really loud because I'm going to quiet your guitar. Ready? I got peace like a river. I got peace like a river. I got peace like a river in my soul. I got peace like a river. I got peace like a river. I got peace like a river in my soul. Beautiful. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
That was great. So I was wondering, since we're all talking about peace, if you folks could tell us what peace is. From people are talking about this at school maybe, and at church, maybe in your house. What do they mean when they're talking about peace?
Peace is when kindness is being given from both sides of people.
Here, I'm going to give this to you because I want you've got wisdom to share.
Peace is when kindness is being given from both sides.
Have you seen it anywhere?
Wars, whenever they end.
When wars end, yeah. And there's a lot of wars going on right now, so we're hoping they end. What about you? Do any of you know what peace is? What is it? Do you agree with him, or have you had a thought about peace? Have you ever seen peace? Peace right now. You hear how quiet it is? That's peace. Here.
When more than one person is getting along with each other.
When people are getting along with each other. What does that take for people to get along with each other? Do you know? Yeah, does anybody else know about peace down here? Have you ever seen peace? Do you know how peaceful you all are right now? I bet if I could just let you run wild, it wouldn't be this peaceful. Does anybody have anything they want to say about peace? Have you ever seen peace, like at school? You think so? Do you want to say something? Okay, what did you want to say?
What?
My mama. Oh, your mama is peace. Oh, isn't that great, mama? Does she give you kisses? Yeah, that's peace. That's peace. Anybody else have anything? Yes, what do you want to say?
My mama gives me hugs.
Your mom gives you hugs?
That's it.
Yeah. Okay, hugs and kisses. Anybody else? Do they have peace at school? Do you ever see it? Think about like when you eat your lunch or at recess. Because mamas aren't usually there. But they were talking about when people get along with each other. Have you ever seen times at school or when there's not peace? Sometimes, like if somebody pushes somebody or maybe calls somebody a name, that's not peace, is it? No. And so one thing that we're going to talk about is how we, each one of us, even it doesn't matter how big or little you are, can help create peace wherever you are, in your family or in your community, with your mom or dad or grandma or grandpa, your sisters and brothers. Have you ever seen, somebody down there mentioned war. Yeah, there's other places where we can see in our world that there's not peace. Have any of you ever seen that? Are you even aware? That's good. Maybe you don't even know. That's great. Better yet. Too little to even know. That's great. Do either one of you two have anything you want to say about it?
Arguments.
Tell us about arguments.
There's not peace whenever two people are disagreeing and they're arguing.
Yeah. How old are you?
I'm 12.
You're 12. Okay, and you're in like 6th grade?
7.
7th grade, yeah. 7th graders are a little more aware of all this stuff. When people are arguing, tell us that, say that again.
When people argue, there isn't peace between them.
That's right. And even countries.
Hmm.
Yeah, that you're aware of that, what's happening. Yeah. Did you have anything what you wanted to say? No. Okay. All right. Well, thank you all for being so brave to come up here and have all these grown-ups looking at you. Yeah.
So what is one of the things that we do in church? Every time we have a service at church, right in the middle of the service, when we all turn to one another, what are we doing when we do that? Does anybody know? Remember? What are we doing? We're giving peace, right? Right in the middle of the service, to use a football analogy, right at halftime, we turn to one another, and we heard it today. We heard Father John say today, the peace of Christ or the peace of the Lord be always with you, right? That's what the priest says. And we say, and also with you, and then we turn to one another, and we pass the peace to one another, right? Everybody does it. Everybody in the whole church does it. And I like to think of that as everything that we do in church is showing us how Jesus wants us to live. And Jesus doesn't want us to just pass the peace in church on Sunday morning. Jesus wants us to pass the peace in all kinds of ways. We have all kinds of opportunities to pass the peace. So there's a famous saint named Saint Francis. We might look at his prayer of peace in a minute. But he said something like, preach the gospel always, and if necessary, use words. And I was thinking of that with peace, that we may not actually use the words of peace, whether we're adults or whether we're kids, but we can pass the peace, exchange the peace of Christ with one another in all kinds of ways. And so Holly, you're the one that translates this into kids' terms. I'm not as good as with the kids. So I was trying to think of asking them, how can we pass peace? Not just in church, but in our lives, our families.
Do you have any ideas?
How do we pass peace?
How do you pass it? Do you understand? These people are. One thing I did notice is that you were trying to take care of your sister, weren't you? And that is passing the peace. And you did it kindly. I noticed that when she was kind of tapping her shoes, she was having fun, and you kind of gently took care of her. That was passing peace by being sweet to your sister. Yeah. Anybody else ever see any way that a person, even a child, somebody who's young, can be kind or pass peace to somebody else? How many of you have a brother or sister? Some of you. How many of you have a friend? You do have one sister. Okay, good. Anybody else have a friend? You think about, you can pass peace to a friend. Who has a grandma or grandpa around here? Anybody? Can you pass peace to them? I wonder what you could do. I bet you do, just by your pure existence, pass peace to them. I'm guessing. Does anybody have an idea of something a person could do? See the difference between a kindergartner and a 6th, 7th grader? It's very...
With older people, it means a lot when younger people like us go and visit them because it kind of shows that we still think about them a lot.
Do you have a grandparent?
Beautiful.
Do you do that?
That's
I bet
beautiful.
you bring them a lot of peace. I bet you did. Yeah. Anybody else? Did you have any thoughts? What grade are you in? 5th. Are you two brother and sister? Oh, okay. So you probably see the same grandparents. Yeah, yeah. What about in 5th grade? Are there things people can do to be pass the peace at school, maybe, or here at church or something?
Invite someone to come do something with you.
Like what?
A game.
Have somebody invite them into a game? Yeah, that's great. Because actually, I've been hearing a lot this weekend about how a lot of people are lonely. And I know that even at your age, sometimes people are lonely. And so if you invite them in to join with you and maybe play a game or do something, that can be really meaningful to them. Yeah. Anybody else? Just being a friend. Look at this little cluster of friends. Enjoying each other's company. I love that. All right. Yeah, Scott, do you want to?
You want to send them back to their tables? Do you want to?
Do you guys want to go back to your tables?
Because I was thinking we could have some table conversation
Yes,
now.
why don't
Bring
you
in.
all go back, and then you can help your parents and all the other adults know as much about peace as you guys do.
So what we'd invite you to do now at your tables, and again, if you can get some different generations at your table, that's great. If not, that's fine too. But what are some specific ways? Two things. What do you currently do right now to pass the peace in your life? And it's, especially now as you think ahead to the season of Advent that as we heard in the sermon, next Sunday is the season of Advent. We're coming into Thanksgiving. We're coming into the season of Christmas, peace. We want to be even more intentional. Is there something you want to be intentional about doing, about passing the peace in all the different ways? And sometimes we get inspired by hearing from each other how we pass the peace. Again, we learn the centrality of that here at church, but then we take it out into the world. So just have a little conversation at your tables about ways you currently pass the peace and other ideas, maybe especially for the holidays. How do you want to be, we say all the time in Living Compass, there's many compasses that are competing to guide our lives. The compass of the dominant culture is strong this time of year. The force is strong this time of year. So how do we make the compass of Christ our compass in the next 5 weeks? We had to be intentional about that. One way is by being instruments of peace. So just have some conversation about how you pass the peace, what opportunities you can talk about, maybe challenges that you anticipate with that too, but just kind of enrich one another with some conversation. We'll take about 5 minutes for that.
right. Thank you, everyone, for being brave enough to talk with each other about that. Does anybody have anything that they wanted to share with the group about things, ideas they had for passing the peace?
I was looking through your bulletin, and I was thinking about all the ways that you as a community are passing the peace. Again, in all the different offerings you have. So that's inspiring too. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So the children said, one of them was taking care of her sister, that's taking care of somebody who they think might need some assistance. So what do they say? They were giving us ideas. So what they said, inviting a friend to play a game with them. That was, and those are wonderful. And those even might give us ideas of what we could do. Children have a lot of wisdom. But what did you all come up with things that you'd want to share for the benefit of the group? Oh, here, yes. Praying for other people.
Is passing peace. They might not know it, but you are.
Yes, they don't even need to know. They don't even need to know. Passing. There was a long list named of people today that were hurting in some way. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I saw other hands, but where did they go? Yes.
There was a movie called Places in the Heart years ago.
A movie called Places of the Heart?
I want to give them the mic.
Sally Fields started that.
Oh, she did. Do you want to talk in there so you don't have to repeat it?
There was a movie called Places in the Heart, and Sally Fields was one of the prime actress in that. And at the end of the movie, if I remember correctly, they were in church. And there was a lot of resolution of conflict going on at that time, and mentally, I guess, but there were people who weren't actually dead in the church. And as you pass the peace, you would see people that weren't physically there anymore. It was a beautiful film. If you haven't seen that, I highly recommend it. It's a really Places in the Heart.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much. Maybe we could watch that with a friend or by yourself or someone. Even have a movie group talk about it. That's awesome. Anybody else? Yes.
I'll just stand up.
Okay, you've got a good voice.
We happen to be fortunate at our table to have a friend and a parishioner that writes a daily devotion. She's done it for years.
Oh, I love it.
And for those of us who are fortunate enough to be on her little email list each morning with all of our other devotions, we get to read Betty's devotion. And I didn't have an opportunity to share at my table, but I will share. Betty, right here? Right here. Betty's Betty.
I know her. Betty Shivers. I met her yesterday.
But one thing that I've kind of challenged myself with, and it's something we all can do, I typically go to exercise really early in the morning. I say that since 1:19, and I don't know most of the people that are walking in to exercise or to go see their doctors, but they're sitting there in the lobby, they're walking in, and very much, Roy, like you said, some of them looks like, it's not a great day, but it's amazing when you say good morning to someone, just the look of life. And sometimes we don't know, we may be the only one who talks to that individual that day, besides that doctor that they may be going to see.
Who has to talk to them? But you voluntarily, I recognize them, acknowledge their presence.
I love that.
That's wonderful. And that's so, it's quick, it's easy. I mean, it doesn't cost anything. It's just a thing you can give to somebody. Yeah. Anyone else? I know I saw some other hands up.
We all learned during the pandemic that, there was a time, right, when we weren't sharing the peace, or we were very nervous about it, and we were worried about, who's contagious, and am I contagious? And the reality is we are all contagious all the time. The question is, what are we contagious with? What are we spreading? What are we spreading? I'm a word nerd. I love to study words. Right in the middle of the word contagious is the word tag. Because contagious means when I tag somebody, I am spreading something. So you just shared a beautiful story of tagging somebody with peace. And so it really is a question of what are we spreading? And we're all spreading something. And this is where the prayer of St. Francis, for me, is so important, because it starts out with, make me an instrument of peace. If my instrument is in tune, like this guitar is in tune, more or less, I can make prettier music. But when I am out of tune, I'm not spreading peace. When I'm out of tune, I'm not spreading peace. One of the reasons we come to liturgy and come to church is to get back in tune. We come to retune our thoughts, our words, our deeds, so that we can go out and be instruments of peace, because we're all spreading something all the time. And so we're passing something. Anything else that anyone to share? Otherwise, I need 6 volunteers to come forward who have a playful spirit. I need 6 volunteers to come forward and stand up here in a line. And we're going to do a little exercise.
They can be of any age.
They can be of any age. They can be, 7th graders and 5th graders. They can be any age. We just need 6 volunteers to come. It's going to be safe and fun, and don't worry, it's not going to be.
You don't have to tell your life
story. You're going to help us bring to life a little point
We've
here
got
about
a
peace.
willing volunteer.
All right, we got one.
Somebody's brave in the crowd.
Going once. Please don't let her come up by herself.
Okay.
All right, we got a few other.
Okay.
Okay. So it just needs 6 of you to line up, and you just line up here facing the group. Ah, thank you. 2 more. 1 more. Keith, you're right here.
Oh, he's in theater.
He's so shy, though. Okay. Actually, just make a little 3 on each side here. Make a little. Okay. So. One of the, I had this passage up here on the screen. This is another place where peace comes in the service, when the priest at the end offers the blessing and says, and now may the peace of God, which passes all understanding, be with you and be upon you. That comes from Scripture. That comes, I didn't put a reference up there. That's Philippians 4:7. The peace that passes understanding. So what is this peace? These people are going to help. They're going to give us a little sculpture here of what this peace of Christ looks like and how it's different than the peace of the world. Okay. Again, I talk about the different compasses that are guiding us. So one of the things that, tell me your name. Jack said he was talking about peace as an absence. Like when a war ends, we have peace. Okay. That's a very common way we think about peace. But I want us to think about peace as a continuum. I'm going to stand in the middle of this continuum for a minute. So we're going to go from, don't take this personally, there's low levels of peace on this side of the continuum, nothing personal. We're just acting, okay? And it's going to move up here to the highest level. So what I would like you to do, Kathy, is just kind of, if someone has absolutely no peace, they're just full of dis-ease and conflict and angst, what might that look like? How would you stand to maybe make that look? Could it be, it could be very closed, okay. Now this person here, we're going on a continuum, has a little more peace than this person, but is still not really at peace with themselves. So what might that look like? How would you stand to make that? Is that a face you're making? Is that a kind of, geez, you're scaring me, okay? Kind of an angry face. And you're just a little unpeaceful. So you're looking at, okay. So now I'm going to stand right here. So this is the kind of what I would call the neutral point. And in a very common understanding of peace, we think of peace as not this. So peace is when there's not conflict. There's not angst, there's not unhappiness, there's not kindness. So, and that's a good kind of peace, certainly as Jack said. So if war is on the far end, so when the war ends and we're here at the neutral point, that is a peace, that is peace that we want, right? But the peace of Christ surpasses the neutral point. Jesus did not come and say, I came that you may have life and have it at the neutral point. He doesn't want us to just not have conflict. So, think about a friendship or a close relationship in your life. And you want to describe how beautiful that relationship is. Hopefully you'll say more, well, we don't fight a lot. That's good, right? That's good. Okay, so now, if we move on this side, now you have peace. You're on your way to the full expression of the peace of Christ. So how would you stand to show some growing peace? I smile. Jack, you got a little more peace than Catherine, and so how would you show it? You're looking peaceful, okay? And Keith, you got the peace of Christ, you're passing all understanding, and you are Look at this. Look at that, folks. Okay. Give them all a hand. Just stay here. Don't leave yet. Okay. So this is, in living our Christian life, this is what when we talk about formation, we're forming life on this side of the continuum. Not just that we're not fighting, that we're not in conflict, we're not unhappy, we're not unkind, we're not, and think of the fruits of the Spirit, of kindness, of love, of generosity, of all the way, but we need to nurture this. It's why we need Christian community, it's why we need Christian practices, because this kind of peace takes practice and it takes a commitment, okay? And that's why we ask you to be thinking about how are you going to pass peace in the next couple of weeks. Now I want to show you one other thing that to me really captures the peace of Christ and fits in perfectly with the sermon this morning in the Christ the King Sunday. So now what I want the two groups of three to do, I want you to have a pretend tug of war here. So you're on each side of this rope, facing each other. Now you face each other, like a typical, like a typical. And I'll come back here, like a typical tug of war, right? So these two groups, you can think of this as two people, two groups. This could happen in any organization. There can be a conflict, right? And in a conflict, it's like this. It's like a tug of war, right? You're pulling back and forth. You're trying to win the argument, right? You're trying to pull the person or the people over to your side. So just kind of do that a little bit. Just kind of enact that a little bit, okay? Okay. Now, what we often think, if we think of the peace of the world, not this peace of Christ that passes understanding, when we bring Jesus into the picture, if we're not careful, what is it we want to do? We want Jesus to come on our side and help us win the tug of war, right? That's a very natural human longing. But what does Jesus do? He comes and says, and please do this, drop the rope. Now there's nothing to pull. And he even goes even further, says, now come over and exchange peace with one another. Go ahead. Exchange peace with one another. There you go. See? This is the peace of Christ that passes all understanding. How many times is it that we want to win an argument? And we might even bring Jesus in on our side. Jesus, you can go all sit down. Give them all a hand. Thank you very much for doing that. We might want to use Jesus to strengthen our argument and to win. And certainly that's what was so confusing at the time of Jesus, that to a lot of his followers, because they thought, okay, we got God on our side of the rope now. Now we're going to defeat Rome, we're going to defeat the rulers of the day, and finally we're going to get the peace that we want because we got Jesus on our side. There are no sides with Jesus, okay? And this is a peace that passes all understanding. It passes our normal ways of thinking about peace. So how are we doing on time? I want to be around 5 minutes. Anything you want to jump in? Okay. So we just want to leave you with this. This is hard work. This is discipleship work. This is the work of a lifetime. To be these instruments of peace, to keep, as I said yesterday in the retreat, first we got to tune our own instruments, right? And then to continue to be these instruments of peace. We have to give up our need to be right. We have to give up our need to overpower other people. As he said, my kingdom is not of this world. And we're going to have all of us are going to have some very, very concrete opportunities in this next 6 weeks. To practice peace, to be instruments of peace. And our hope and prayer is that just coming here today and reflecting on that is going to give you a little extra boost to that. Because remember, in all your gatherings, you are contagious. The question is, what are you spreading? So we have, just to help you remember this and keep this as a focus, we printed up some cards with this scripture on it. And I invite you to take a couple if you want. I think we have 200 of them here. We'll pass them around. You want to help me pass them around? Pass them around to tables. You can put this in your wallet. You can put this in your, pass them around your table. Thank you. And you can put it in your, and take it several. Put it on your refrigerator at home. way too many, but you can pass them on to the next table. And you can also, if you want to take a couple, I like to do this. I like to take scriptures like this and
Have an extra.
and write an intention. Write an intention on the back so you can take a couple and you can write an intention. Because you may already know where a challenge is going to be coming up, where you're going to be challenged to practice this piece, okay? So if you prepare for that, if you have an intention of being an instrument of peace as you go into that gathering, that's going to help you. So I like to use these cards. I have all kinds of cards like this with scriptures on it, and I like to write intentions on them as well. There's more here if anybody wants to come up and get some after. Again, just another scripture that reminds us that this peace of Christ is different than the peace of the world. Okay? And I thought we would close by saying...
I do want to give a little,
please,
say
please,
something.
please. Yep.
I feel a little shy about it because I feel like it's advertising, but so I'm actually not on the team that's created this, but this is Practicing Peace, this book.
Yeah, they have those
It's
here,
for
I
group
think.
discussions. Scott also has a podcast that he creates that's going to go with this. It's Living Compass, right?
Yeah.
Just, that's all you have to look for. And then we
And
have...
Mary
have
B.
a-
Sullivan is a writer in our in the Advent booklet for this year, too.
So
She
you
has
can go
a
to that,
beautiful...
our
yeah.
website, and you
Yeah.
can just, oh, look at that. Somebody's got them.
Yeah, there they are, yeah. Thank you. We got a copy for everyone. Again, and you'll notice that it's Practicing Peace is the name of it.
So
Because
it's a day by
practice-
day by
yeah.
day thing during all of Advent.
I just
And
wanna-
The other thing is that we also have a podcast that as family therapists, it's not religious per se, but it's talking about relationships and conflict and all that sort of stuff. That's called Wellness Compass Podcast.
That we do together.
Yeah.
I just want to close before we say the prayers. Thank you, John. Thank you, Catherine. Thank you, Mary B., who's not here. Thank you for all who opened could extend such a warm welcome to us. It has been a wonderful weekend with you, and we'll hope to be with you again. But let's close together by saying the prayer of St. Francis. Lord, make us instruments of your peace. Where there is hatred, amen. Go in peace to love and serve the Lord. Thanks be to God. Thank you.